This episode is brought to you by Snapple. Want to know another Snapple fact? The first hot air balloon passengers were a sheep, a duck, and a rooster. Ridiculous. Check out Snapple.com to find ridiculously flavored Snapple near you.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end,
what will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Welcome to Midwife Pip Podcast Bitesize, your weekly dose of all things pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and women's health, to help support you towards a better journey. These episodes are snapshots from previous episodes on the podcast to make sure you have all those golden nuggets of information that you need. And remember, if you're feeling like you would benefit from working with me and having more one-to-one support on your journey, drop me a message at midwife_pip on Instagram so we can chat about how I support women at this time in their lives and may be able to help you too.
So Google anything to do with labour and you will likely hear the term hypnobirthing. But it's not all about chanting with charms and crystals. In fact, that is a huge misconception. At its core, hypnobirthing aims to help a woman deal with any fear or anxiety around birth and aims to equip you with methods to help you stay calm, relaxed, and in control. On this week's episode, I am delighted to be joined by Abby, an experienced hypnobirthing teacher and a teacher trainer. Abby and I will talk all about how the practices of hypnobirthing can complement your body's physiology in labour. By enabling your body and mind to be relaxed, birth can be less painful, quicker, and a very positive experience. Abby's based in West Yorkshire, with many years' experience teaching hypnobirthing to expectant parents and also training and mentoring others to become hypnobirthing teachers. So she is the perfect guest for this week's podcast chat. Abby helps parents to feel calm and confident about birth, equipping them with the tools to have a positive birth experience, however this may happen for them. Abby really does practice what she preaches, having given birth to her 4 children, all through which she embraced hypnobirthing techniques. Abby mirrors my ethos that all women should approach their birth free from fear, and I hope that this chat helps you to embark on your positive birth journey. Abby, just tell us a little bit about what hypnobirthing is, if you don't mind, because I think for ladies who perhaps aren't familiar with the term, we do imagine sort of really old school hippie midwives, maybe free birthing or, you know, all kind of out there principles of midwifery, but actually it's becoming a little bit more mainstream, but in a really positive way, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, you know, I totally agree. When I heard the word, I thought exactly that. I mean, when my husband heard the word, he imagined that we'd be doing some kind of like, going into some kind of mind control kind of thing. But, you know, hypnobirthing actually, and so many clients say this to me, is really common sense. You know, it's all about, you know, working with your mind and your body. Like ultimately, it's about having tools to be really calm during birth. And we can't do that on demand, you know. So if we go into labour and someone says to us, be calm or be relaxed, that's just not going to work if our head's in this place of expecting the worst. So hypnobirthing very much is about mindset techniques as you're approaching the birth, you know, mindset techniques to let go of all the kind of rubbish we've collected about birth throughout the years that actually probably isn't that realistic, you know? And definitely it's about letting go of the fear. So many people are, me included, very fearful of birth. You know, all we see on the TV is, you know, the emergencies, people screaming, all the stories we hear back that up too. And that just basically means that for lots of women, they're going into birth full of adrenaline, full of tension, and that massively impacts on the experience itself. So hypnobirthing really allows people to have this more realistic approach to birth, knowing as well that they have got so many tools and techniques that can help it be really calm and help it be as positive as possible. Okay, so ultimately that's what it is. It's loads of stuff as well, like knowing your options, working with your birth partner, and ultimately working with your body rather than against it.
That's brilliant. And it's really interesting, isn't it, that you say how so many women now are full of fear as they approach birth. And actually, for some women, as soon as they've got a positive pregnancy test, almost their next immediate thought is, oh my goodness, I've got to go through this labour and birth experience. And actually reframing that into, I guess, recognizing how our bodies are made for this process. And the more we can understand that process and how our bodies and our babies are working in harmony through that physiological birthing process, how actually that can hopefully dispel some of that fear, and kind of, I guess, control that back to the mum, putting that control back in their hands, is really, really important.
Absolutely. Like when I think back to when I was fearful of birth, I wasn't actually fearful of birth. I was fearful of what I expected birth to be. And then when I actually found out what birth could be like or what the process involves, I felt so much more calm about it. So of course it is about tools, it is about techniques, but it's about understanding as well. When you understand your body, you feel like, okay, I've got this. I understand where these sensations are coming from. I understand that this is normal. All is well, all is calm. So I think the knowledge aspect is massive, so massive for so many people.
I totally agree. And that's why I'm so pleased that you've come on this week, because I know there's everything going on at the moment with COVID and things. Lots of classes and lots of midwifery contact is very restricted and limited. And as a result, maybe women aren't getting the amount of information that they would hope to or may have otherwise. So it's really important that we provide resources that women can access. And like you said, when you look for birth stories or for information, so often people just love to tell you like a horror birth story, and no one likes to share you like a really positive one. So like when you said you met your friend and she was like, birth was great. We so need more of that, don't we? Because birth really can be great, regardless of the mode and the twists and turns that might crop up.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end,
What will I become? Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Absolutely. And, you know, I can totally see it from the perspective of it's very easy to share a bad story. Whereas when you've got a positive story, sometimes you almost feel like, oh, I can't say that. I can't say that at a baby group because I'll look really smug. It'll almost feel like, oh, you know, you're kind of poo-pooing anyone's negative stories. So I think sometimes we don't even hear the good stories because there's this acceptance that actually birth's really bad, and almost to kind of fit in with everybody else, we talk about that because we don't want to kind of look like one of the lucky ones, when actually a positive birth isn't just about it going like really straightforward. It's about it feeling good. And I think that's a big misconception as well. You know, people feel like, okay, I'm aiming for a certain type of birth, when actually, you know, it's getting into the mindset of, I am aiming for my birth feeling and being good, like not an experience to scar me, an experience that I look back on with joy, however that happens. And for some people, that might be a planned cesarean. For other people, that might be a home birth. Everyone's so unique with how they want their birth to be or what might be a positive experience for them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really, really important, Abby. I completely agree. And we spoke a little bit and we just touched on the idea of adrenaline and that kind of tension. And one of the things I try to discuss in my antenatal classes is how we need to try to move away from that kind of tension, fear, pain cycle that we might associate with a pathological type of pain. So if you broke your arm or your leg and you were actually sick, and there's that fear, tension, pain that promotes all that adrenaline, and actually trying to refocus that into recognizing that, yes, labour can be painful and it can be uncomfortable, but it's a very physiological pain. It's not because there's a problem, and trying to relax into that and almost accept that and go with it is, I guess, where your hypnobirthing techniques really come into their own.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, when I was pregnant, a massive turning point was understanding that the vast majority of the sensations are actually coming from muscles working. Like if you consider any other muscle in your body, yeah, like when it works, it can be hard work. It can literally take all your focus. It can be tiring, but we don't often associate other muscles working in our body as extremely painful. But when we talk about labour, the whole emphasis often is about pain. And, you know, there are lots of reasons why people will experience labour to be painful.
I hope you found that bite-sized episode really insightful. To listen to it in full, go to the description and visit that episode on whatever platform you're listening on. One last thing before you go. As a listener, really help make this podcast successful. I would appreciate if you could subscribe and leave a quick review. Something so little means so much to me and will help so many women's lives.